Hey everybody, welcome to my Saturday morning live. It's 9:10 here in New York, probably close to 7:40 in India, and all kinds of timings in the other parts of the world. We are here today for our usual Saturday morning live, and as I had promised last time, I will right after this live, I will do like a quick meditation. We had talked about it. But hi Ayush Sharma, hi everybody else. And you guys tell me what you want to hear about, what you want to talk about. I will talk about, hey, how are you? Good morning. How have you been, Alak? Feels like it's been a while since we've connected. Elements Truffles here is the only, I would say, Ayurvedic chocolate. Alak puts her heart into making what she does, and I devoured her entire package between me and my daughters. Hey Moonweave Healing, hi Hansika, hey all of you. So it's a lovely Saturday morning, and I have an experience to share today before we go into our Q&A. Everybody please go. So I know that's one thing we're going to talk about. I'm also going to clarify. I'm great. I'm also going to clarify some points on the things you don't say to an Ayurvedic practitioner about microwaving, about freezing. Hey Source of Energy. Yes, I would love to see you, Alak. Okay, yoga with Kitty, that's the first question I'm going to take, the key question, okay? But before that, let's talk about one experience that I had this week, which was I've had an unusually crazy busy week. And what I did was prajna aparadha, which means crime against wisdom. Like, what you're doing is not good for you and you do it. And that's what I did. And I'll tell you what I did. I like chai, and I am an occasional chai drinker. But what I did this week is I indulged in my 2 cups of chai, and my body, right, being a vata pitta vata dominance, is very sensitive to caffeine. So what happened as a result is I didn't get sleep really well. So because I've seen that the minute I have 2 cups of coffee, 2 cups of tea, my sleep gets affected, and my sleep got affected, and that lasted. Like, I allowed myself to do that for like maybe 3, 4, 5 days consecutively. And I had like late night stuff going on. I slept at 11, 12, and my sleep got affected. But that's not the problem. The problem is what I realized when the sleep got affected, my digestion was off, my hair was off, my skin was off, my mood was off. I cannot tell you how much, right? How many times people talk about hair fall, they talk about dry skin, they talk about other kinds of discomfort, and how much of that is connected to sleep, which I rarely get to experience because I am a sleeper. I sleep really, really well. So having these 3, 4, 5 days of lack of sleep made such a significant difference to my health, and I wanted to share that for everybody, because when anything is going wrong, the first thing you want to address, I would say even before digestion, is sleep. Even that, just addressing your sleep is going to make a difference to even your digestion. So whether it's your hair, whether it's your skin, whether it's your periods, whether it's your whatever it is, first you want to sort your sleep and sleep well, and having caffeine can really interrupt with your sleep. Right, now I'm going to quickly go and clarify why we don't microwave food. I just want to tell you how microwaving works, and it doesn't mean I never use the microwave. I would say myself, with my own hand, there must be maybe about once a month that I may have to warm something in the microwave. But the way the microwave works, I'd rather not have a microwave at home, to be very honest with you. But the way the microwave works is it kind of breaks open the molecular structure. Now, the molecular structure, right, things are bound cohesively in your food items and anything in the universe. And the molecules, the way they're arranged, really carries a genetic code of that substance. And what the microwave does is it brings the heat from within. It kind of stimulates that molecular structure. It gets all the cells to start acting up, and basically when those cells from within start acting up, and that friction, right, between the cells actually heats the food. So it's not an external source of heat, you're generating its own heat, and those cells start behaving really, the molecules start behaving really funny, the molecules in the food, and that's the way to heat. So you're basically changing the composition of the food. You're bringing that food back to like from the grave and making it like do stuff. So to me, it's a no-brainer. The microwave is not a healthy way to heat food. The heat has to come from an external source of heat, like a healthy external source of heat if you want to heat food. There are various sanskars listed in Ayurveda, different ways that you can heat food, different ways that you can cook food. And shaking up the molecular structure is definitely not one of those ways stimulating heat from within, right? You don't freeze food, because once food has been put to Agni, it has been brought to life. I mean, it's ready to eat. And when you freeze it, it's like putting it on the ventilator, saying that, hey, I'm going to stop your disintegration. I'm going to stop this life force, and then bringing it back from the ventilator after whenever you feel like it. It's like going back into coma and coming back. That life force that our food carries, right? Already you're killing plants. So you're killing some of that life force. But then after that, to eat food which has been frozen and unfrozen and frozen and unfrozen can basically affect the prana, essential life force, what it can do to penetrate through all your tissues. So we have to be very careful about the way we process our foods. What do I use frozen? I'll tell you, I'm not going to say my freezer is empty. In the US, unfortunately, you don't get fresh peas, and it's not like I use a ton of peas, but I always will have fresh corn, organic corn and organic peas in my freezer. What else is in my freezer? Is also, like, sometimes I will get like bajra, and I'll get some other flours, but they're not cooked, and from India, or whole grains, and I don't want to expose them too much to the heat, so sometimes I keep that in my freezer. So that's what you'll find in my freezer. I also have kaffir lime leaves. I love kaffir, but these are all not uncooked, right? So if it's uncooked, it's still okay to keep it in the freezer. But to cook foods, to make gravies, to cut vegetables even, and keep it in the freezer has kind of activated its disintegration. And then when you put it in the freezer, the life force gets affected. So that was it for some of the things that I wanted to say, because I put a post saying things you never say to an Ayurvedic practitioner. And if you want to go back to, or an Ayurveda lover, and if you want to go back to the post, and if you have questions with the other points, I will be happy to answer. But before that, I am going to, yes, Moon Wave, and your name is Wave, so I like that. Okay, we're going to go back to the first question, which was, can we give ghee first thing to a 4-year-old too? I would say no, that you don't want to do it. With kids, you want to give fat, but you want it to be always cooked. When you give a lot of other fat, right, like for plain ghee or plain yogurt or plain cheese, and a lot of that, their gut, their Agni cannot process it. And when it can't process it, it becomes slimy. All those substances, heavy fat, will sit and make the environment of the gut very humid. And think about it like in the universe, wherever there is humidity excess, there is mold and parasites. So a lot of kids actually get bugs in their stomach. They actually get parasites because we give them excessive of these slimy fats. If you cook their foods in ghee with spices, it's a different story. But giving them ghee like that, plain empty stomach, can really slow down, dwindle their Agni, and even give them parasites, worms. You'd like to know more about oral care. I'm not amazing with my oral care, which doesn't mean I still brush my teeth twice a day. But I'm not the oil puller. The goal is to actually, this year's resolution is to, not a New Year's resolution, but the resolution is to start doing oil pulling. But I would say for oral care, I use Dabur Red toothpaste for years, and it really works for me. But I would say if you can brush your teeth twice and you can oil pull even 4 times a week, Shruti, I think you're set. I think that does a big deal. Unless you have specific gingivitis problems, then that's a deeper issue. How to change thought patterns from negative to positive, from angry to kind. And I think this is what works for me, right? Afsana, is firstly, we are obsessed with sending away the negative. You're like, oh my God, I can't feel angry. Oh my God, why am I feeling angry? I shouldn't be feeling angry. And I think part of the process is actually knowing that it's okay to feel angry, right? Like, we have to start looking at our feelings like it was another child. Like we were a parent and we have a child and the child is angry. And can you imagine how the child would feel if you're like, shut up, don't be angry, rather than being like, empathizing that, listen, I know you're feeling really angry right now, right? This makes you really angry. And the minute that part of ours feels understood, right? And feels like it has an understanding, we're not rejecting that part. What then happens is the kind part can coexist. And it takes practice, right? It's deep breathing. I mean, it's a longer process, but it really works. It's like just taking a breath, realizing where that anger, where it's feeling as a sensation, breathing into it, and realizing that anger and kindness can coexist at the same time, and they're both very useful. I personally believe, right, that all range of emotions, when somebody's like, oh, I never feel anger, it means you're repressing it. You're repressing it somewhere, because as a human being, the capability of feeling all emotions exists, whether it's anger, whether it's guilt, whether it's shame. It exists, the capability exists, right? And there's higher emotions like anger, passion. You're supposed to have them. Now they're an a la carte of emotions, saying that I'm able to feel all of these feelings, and I'm able to heal all of this. Deal, heal. Feel, deal, then you heal. And when that happens, right, you have an a la carte of emotions. And you'll realize the only thing that happens from that is the way we work in the world, right? That there'll be less fear, because there's fear and there is passion and there is a desire. All of them, nothing feels scary. The fear doesn't feel scary. The anger doesn't feel scary. The risk doesn't feel scary, because you're okay feeling all of those emotions. We actually react less to all of those feelings. We call upon what we want to call upon. We recognize them all. They're all our little children. And we can still have those higher emotions, because really, unless you can have an a la carte of all emotions and know when they come up for you and accept when they come up for you, we can't really feel higher emotions. So anyways, long story short, I think the first step is to accept the negative emotions. Like when my children are like, Mom, I'm really scared for the test. What if I don't pass? Or what if I don't do well? And I'm like, wow, you must be feeling nervous about, I can see you're feeling nervous about the test. And they're like, yeah. And I let them feel it. And then I'm like, is there a little excitement somewhere? Is there also a little hope that you might do? It might be exciting, or it may be fun to give the test, or you may do well. And then they're like, yeah, there is there. I was like, let's feel that as well. Because they felt this part, now they're able to feel that part. I hope that made sense, Afsana. That was a long answer. I didn't want to cut it short. Tanya's, I have a whole course on pregnancy and postpartum. I actually recommend. I feel like I've done it's a good course where a lot of information has been packed into a very, very concisely, just telling you exactly what to do, explaining what your body goes through, giving you recommendations. It's a very reasonable course. It's on the link is in my bio. It's in my Podia website. Ayush Sharma, as we age, we all deal with dwindling Agni, and check out all my Agni posts, because they really give you the answers. I've done the series in the last 2 weeks, so you'll get that. Microwave food tastes different, right? Is coriander water good for hypothyroidism? So I'll tell you, Neha Mahajan, we don't treat the condition, we treat the person. So I can't say if it's good for hypothyroidism, but if I knew you and I knew how your body functions and all the different aspects of your body, maybe I could tell you if it's good for you or not, or if it's going to work for you right now or not. That's why I say for these things, if you ask people about a condition, you're rarely going to get an accurate answer. Even if they give it to you, it's not, I wouldn't buy it 100%. Have heard that you shouldn't do Nasya just after or before bath. Is that right? You can do it anytime. So I would say before bath, avoid, Jill. And right after bath, you actually technically can do Nasya. But give it to 5 minutes. What is that mug? Across this? Is this what you're talking about? I don't know what mug you're talking about. There is no mug here. Ayurveda Lelor, tell me what you're talking about. This is not a cross. This is just like, I don't know, this is this Van Cleef petal. Nidhi, in Mumbai, we have to pack our lunch to work in the morning itself and have it by noon. Should that be a point of concern? No, Punk Mangox. I would say you just put it in a hot thermos. I get thermos. Like that's how I pack lunch for my children. I pack it in a hot thermos, and then sometimes there's like you have other parathas and all. You pack it in a foil, and that's okay. Please talk about Surya Namaskar someday. I will talk about Surya Namaskar someday, Hansika. I will do a yoga session one day. Okay, Yoga Kuti, I'm glad that helps. I really want to know if the sorrowful is not allowed to vitiligo in patient of Ayurveda. So in vitiligo, right, there's also, like, let's say food has fermented and gone sideways in your body. It's traveled laterally into your channels, made it to your skin, and it's all fermented food. Sour will make no, it's not fermented food, right? Let's say it's toxic waste. It becomes waste by now, which is kind of fermenting. It's ama, and it's affecting, it's always hot in nature, apparently, for vitiligo, hot and slimy. And sour foods also make everything hot and slimy in your body. So you're giving rise to that same kind of property, guna, in your body. In Ayurveda, there's a principle called the Samanya Vishesha Siddhanta, which is anything, right? Like will increase like. So if you're already going through something and you don't want that to aggravate, you will avoid anything which has similar properties, and sour has similar properties. Is Dabur fluoride free? Yes, Charming Modi, I'm pretty sure it's fluoride free. I mean, I checked 12 years ago and I think it was fluoride free. Happy birthday, Prerna. No, listen, I mean, I'm not big enough. I mean, I don't, you have all my love. I don't know if I'm worthy to bless you, but you have all my love and you have all my good energy, Prerna. And just, wishing you, it's one of my closest friends' birthdays as well, Feb 12th. So I just want to wish you well, want to wish you luck, want to wish you love, and just wish you a happy, happy birthday. Yeah, field deal here. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I just thought about that, the field deal here. Grey hair can't be cured, it can be endured. Amazing, so important. And pigmentation after the age of 35. Yeah, I actually experienced some pigmentation. I went to Mexico, and I don't know, you can't see it now, it's become lighter, right? So technically I would say use any product with vitamin C, and you can get product which is amla, which also has vitamin C, and that will help you. I do believe in sunscreen. I know it's not a fully Ayurvedic thing, but I do believe in wearing sunscreen because our exposure to the sun, because the ozone layer has been depleted, is tremendously more than when the Shastras were written. So I do actually believe in wearing a mineral based sunscreen. So for pigmentation, I would say use cooler products like Kailash Jeevan, use sunscreen, use vitamin C products. You definitely want to not go crazy with the sun. You want to use some kumkumadi, but you don't want to keep turmeric based products and go out in the sun. That will aggravate your pigmentation. How can yoga strengthen Agni? There are Agni building asanas. If you go to my YouTube, I have given you guys Agni building asanas, which is twisting, crunching, really stimulating this. Oh, the pendant. No, that's not a cross. How do you control cravings? Been having a real craving for the first time in my life for carbonated drinks. So flower, power, joy, sometimes, right? Cravings can come from the mind or they can come from a body imbalance. In the mind imbalance, the craving comes from a tamasic or a rajasic state of mind. Now let's understand what is a tamasic state of mind. When you're feeling depressed and sluggish, and you're in denial of something, either in your life or from your past, but when you're in denial and you slow down and you withdraw from reality in some manner, like a little slightly depressed, that you have inertia. In that case, you may have tamasic cravings, or you slept longer than you should, you've been lazy or more sedentary, and you can have tamasic cravings, which means you'll crave more sweet, more heavy, more dense things, right? That's your mind craving. You can have rajasic cravings. Rajasic cravings are when you're feeling like intense, and you just want to be out there, and you can have hot cravings, but they can also come from your bodies, right? So which means when your body is going through an imbalance, like for example, what could be happening is your blood could be getting a little hot and you could be craving this cool carbonated drinks. And it could also be having, usually your blood is going through something, either heat or slime, and it could start having those cravings, right? So you want to check in what's going through my mind. And if nothing is happening in the mind that is unusual or out of the ordinary, then it's your body, right? That's either going through a hormonal shift. Usually I would say the climate of your body has gone off. That's the best that I can give you without understanding. But how do you deal with it is by first asking these questions and resetting that. Curry leaves can be heating in nature, but I know they boil in coconut oil. I know in the south. I have a little less brows, a little patch is not there from lower layers of the skin. Let me know how I can grow my brows. Try castor oil and see if that works, but occasionally there's actually an underlying condition. Can I give brahmi to kids in hot milk and ghee? They can't swallow capsules. No, don't do the ghee. But you can just powder crush it, the brahmi vati. Hi Nidhi, wondering there's a best time of milk or any time of day. The best time is after exercise. Can kumkumadi be used regularly? Don't use it on kids' faces. There's no reason to use that saffron on kids' faces. You know, their skin is going through the natural process of breaking down and rebuilding, right? Kumkumadi essentially helps you to break down debris and rebuild new cells. And kids don't require that. Their body is already doing that. So there's no reason to use kumkumadi for children regularly. What about the talc in Kailash Jeevan? Talc is not a good thing. I'm not sure what talc is. Yes, Avni, I will tell you Kailash Jeevan is 99% great, but there is always a little something, right? To me, that's still the most best, easiest and efficient option. What can I do for pitta headache, preventative and curative? Prachi, what makes you think it's pitta headache? First, you tell me, define what a pitta headache is. Ayurvedic turmeric products in the sun, yeah, I would say don't use a lot of turmeric and go out in the sun, right? Use a turmeric product and like wash it out before you go in the sun, because it can create more pigmentation. The color of that can set in. Oh, I already talked about all things Ayurveda. I talk about this all the time. If you have sugar cravings, you make a mixture of fennel, crushed coconut, crushed almonds, and a little bit of rock sugar. And that, you know, all of these are sweet essentially, and they take a long time to chew. So after meals, just having 1 spoon of that can really kind of, you know, satisfy that sweet craving. And in a good way, like also really settle it. Thank you, Flower Power Joy. I'm so glad that resonated. How do we deal with cringe eating when feeling depressed, right? I would say moving. When you're feeling depressed, one way of dealing with cravings and binge eating is unfortunately moving your body, releasing those endorphins, like changing the chemical structure of your body, and then the craving will 100% be less. You may still want to eat something, but if you go and exercise, go for a run, get some cardio, it will feel much different. There is only one solution to depression, which is go and get moving. Spend some time in nature and get moving, at least the sluggish type of depression. Because at that point, sometimes mind suggestion, auto-suggestion also doesn't work, but breaking that pattern, putting your nervous system into another mode really helps. Skin dry and tan, though do not go out directly in the sun. But there must be some sun exposure, 100%. Poonam, the secret of my glowing skin is that I am going to see you tonight, baby. I can't wait to see you. What can I mix the brahmi with to give the kids? Just mix it with powder, and you can mix it with your milk. Just powder it. Does vata imbalance cause corns in the feet? Now, that's more of a mamsa dhatu thing. It's more of like a tissue. Fennel, almonds, coconut, and rock sugar. What is the best protein powder for smoothies, juices, etc.? This is a wrong question to ask me. Not a big fan of smoothies and juices at all, one bit, but you can have sattu powder in Ayurvedic buttermilk. How to deal with breast tenderness before periods. That's usually a hormonal imbalance. You're probably eating some kind of inflammatory foods, maybe a lot of tomatoes, maybe a lot of yogurt, maybe a lot of cheese. So you want to kind of cut down on that. Is coconut water good after exercise? If you have it with the coconut meat as well, if you have the malai. Pitta headache because it follows very busy times, irregular meals, time in hot sun. That could be more for Pitta Vata headache, right? And you just want to make sure that you're drinking, I would not say water, but something, which has a little bit of lemon, a little bit of ginger. Make sure you're continuously drinking, but Kailash Jeevan helps. If it's a Vata headache, sometimes just putting a little bit of ginger with sesame oil helps. But otherwise, if you keep yourself just having enough like coconut water, cooling foods, then it shouldn't happen, right? I'm experiencing loss of appetite since a few days. Is it due to kapha prakop cause of Vasanta Ritu? So after winter, it does happen, right? So when you're building up to winter, it starts building up, your appetite really starts building up, and it's a good thing. And then when you start going into kapha, right, like the kapha phase where your agni is dwindling, all the fluids, the sun is coming back out, then your agni starts getting affected again, and and it all slows down, everything slows down. Amla is really pathya ahar, that is correct. My 3-year-old has anger outbursts, not regular tantrums. Is this a sign of pitta imbalance? What can I do? No, it's a sign of a child who's feeling safe to express their emotions. So, I think all parents need training, and it's not because we're not good or we're not emotionally intelligent. I just feel like parenting is a skill set. I think it should be taught, actually. Like, it should be mandatory, anybody who becomes pregnant. But Mandakini, yes, they could have a pitta tendency, but I would say it's a great thing, because behind every tantrum lies an opportunity to get to know themselves better, right? When they're accepted for their tantrums and they can really feel their anger, they will react less eventually, and they will be able to communicate what is really underneath that anger. But yes, kids who have a general pitta tendency, their emotion is anger. So this is what I say, right? If your tendency is pitta, your dominant emotion, the dominant negative emotion is anger. If you have a vata tendency, your dominant negative emotion is anxiety and worry. And if you are a more kapha constitution, like emotionally, then your dominant negative emotion is withdrawal, denial, depression. And 30th, struggling with weight gain. Again, there has to be more details. Ideal time for coconut water is between 10 and 2 when the sun is high, 10 and 3. Can you drink coconut water on an empty stomach? Some people can, but I would say it has to be, you can't eat stuff with coconut water. You want to have coconut water just by itself. On an empty stomach, I would say you want to drink something warm first thing in the morning, not something cold. So that we know, but when you do drink coconut water, you want to be like not have eaten anything else. Thank you, Emman. Recently, I've gotten slum slack, for years, for the last 3-4 years that I've been on Instagram, I've gotten love. And the last, there's been some trolling, not tremendous. There was a very famous doctor when I first said, when I first spoke about fruits, not eating fruits in the morning, I was bold enough because nobody in the Ayurveda world said that. I really was too scared to say it. And there's a doctor, a famous doctor, who gave me a lot of grief for it. And now, luckily, she posted the same thing. But otherwise, I've gotten grief for my Q&As that I talk too fast. But the goal is really to get through stuff and not bore people as well. Is it good to snack on dry coconut? It depends, Prabhuji Kaur, what your body is like. When you drink buttermilk, and if it can't have it cold, how do you store it? Isan Martin Burt. So you can keep it outside for about 30-40 minutes. And then you take it in a flask and you can shake it and reconsume it. But don't leave it out for too long. It's going to start fermenting. Do you believe that dreams have significance? Wanted to know your perspective on dreams. Absolutely, Cooking Soul. And I've been actually thinking about that, right? Everything we deal with in our conscious world only comes mostly, right, comes from this conscious brain, the prefrontal cortex, and of course it's always fueled by subconscious memories. But the subconscious memories are not they're just stimulating our conscious brain, right? Like we don't know, oh my god, why did I get so angry about this? Or but those scripts that when somebody is late, for example, like somebody gets very upset when other people are late, and they don't understand, they think it's their value system. But then when they introspect deeply and they say, oh, in my subconsciously, when I was younger and my school was very strict about getting late and I was very traumatized about it, that's the story they carry at the back of their head. That's the script they carry. And that's all in the subconscious brain, which is not actively accessible unless you introspect or meditate. Now, when you're in your dream, this conscious brain fully shuts down. And then the back of the brain, the subconscious brain, like starts producing, it's a different realm. It's a different connection. And it's basically opening up matter from a different world, from a world within, which is connected to the world outside, much deeper, just at a frequency, at a level, at a wavelength that we can't understand in our conscious brain. So I think dreams either have significance because they're messages from the cosmos, but they're also mostly things in our deep subconscious which we are not bringing to our conscious actively. And I think the more introspective you are, the more access you have. That's why there's something called lucid dreaming, which is really being able to be aware of that subconscious pattern while being in that semi-awake state. Like, you know, like I tell you, even when I do some healing in my meditations, right, you know when you've connected. Like there's a consciousness which is, and the subconsciousness really connect. And like, you know when the healing has happened. It's amazing that sometimes you'll meditate and you'll heal and it doesn't happen. And then sometimes it does because of depends on how you connect with the conscious and the subconscious. Whereas supplements, Mani Kharbanda, not the supplement girl. If you have your Shadras Ahar 6 days, eat regularly, have good fats, good spices, eat seasonally, cooked your foods, you'll be fine. For the most part, if you're like me as well. Any remedy for Candida growth? Yes, you will have to lower fats, and there is, of course, other stuff, but then you want to work with a practitioner. Loved today's post. I did all things Ayurveda before you came on, talk about microwave. For another couple of minutes, I'm going to go on with this, and then we shall come back for a short, quick meditation. Anger before and during periods, how to control or eliminate it. So you want to have ripe bananas, but you also want to avoid tremendous sugar and fried food. Your whole body temperature changes. It's hot and it's slimy, and anger is a part of it. I think meditating and breath work really, really help. Taking on less things, like avoiding getting triggered during those things, understanding that you're sensitive. Just as if you were cold, you would brace yourself with a jacket. If you were sick, you would be a little extra careful of what you were eating. Similarly, you're vulnerable right before your periods. And when you're vulnerable, you want to ask people around you also to be a little gentler with you. Your body is going through a climatic change, a shift in weather. So I think it's totally okay to get that support, to get that help, and to take on less. Make sure that you're getting less triggered. Okay, I'm going to try. Do you need good Agni for sugarcane? Yes, and you cannot be overly kapha in your body for sugarcane. I'm going to answer one or two fun questions. Thanks, Raj Purohit. I also talk fast. It is Vata imbalance, but I also choose to talk fast. So guys, like the one thing that I have is I don't have a lot of patience. Like, I'm trying to work on it, but I don't have, sometimes when even people talk slowly or just take a lot of time, I have less patience. It's my own it's my own flow. I have to work with it, but which side do you put your head? Just whichever side, Pina. I love my earrings, thank you. Do you usually meditate without any audio playing? I did that for years, but I use my meditation, my audio. Now, guys, we're going to do a meditation, right? So I'm going to close this and I'm going to come back on. Whoever, I know, whoever wants to, we'll do a quick 5-7 minute meditation today, as I had promised. I don't know where Aarti Lairwani is because I'm not going to be saving this video. But I'll come back on in about 5 minutes and we'll do the quick 5-6 minutes meditation. And Aarti really wanted to do it, so I hope she's around. Can someone with fatty liver take ghee? Generally, not too much. Purvi Apadhyay, you want to actually get a consultation, right? And see, also I think the fashion industry is changing, where the definition of lean is changing. People are understanding that a little bit of flesh is good for your body. I just say that if you have a spoon of water and you put a drop of ink, right, it'll be so concentrated. When you have a cup of water and you put a drop of ink, it'll get diluted. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this. When you're very lean and your tissues are like very, you have very less tissues, very less fluids and mucus, any kind of chemical or any exposure, free radical exposure you have, toxic exposure you have, is going to be concentrated in your body, because your body does not have enough to dilute it. It does not have enough fluids, it doesn't have enough tissue, it doesn't have enough cells. When it's very compact and very lean, everything you have will be very potent, just because of this law. And for women, a little bit of momentum in their belly is very, very important to protect their acne. That's why being extremely skinny, usually acne takes a hit. That momentum is that little good fat on the belly. Too much causes hernia, but a little bit. Any tips for weight gain for Vata dominant female? I would say, I have said this before, Manoram, but massages. Okay, so let me see. What do I do for meditation? I use Dr. Joe Dispenza's. It is okay to sprinkle seeds on your oatmeal. Okay, I'm gonna see what to take after workout is milk with ghee. I will save this. Would love to join your meditation session. Oh, Aarti, you're here. Yeah, okay, because I know you wanted to do this. Okay, I don't know, on purpose and life. We'll talk about that. Okay, so guys, for now, let me end this, and I'll take a 2-minute restroom break, and I will come back on live. That session will not be saved. So if you've never meditated, I'm just going to do a very quick introductory grounding, right? And if you guys like it, we can do longer, bigger. It's going to be anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And if you guys like it, we can do longer meditations. The reason why I say everyone should just start with 5 to 10 minutes, you're just gradually getting your body used to being in that new chemical state. When you do too much, it feels very uneasy. But I've worked with people over 3 days where they've started with 3 minutes and they've ended with easy 20 minutes. But we did it twice a day in my retreats. So we will do. Thanks, Smita. Thanks for all of those who are going to join. And of course, we'll come back next Saturday and take more questions. This will be saved. See you guys in 5 minutes.